Good afternoon, folks. Robert Chappell here, Executive Editor, Madison365, with your daily update for Wednesday, July the 12th. The COVID numbers today, actually, a little surprised. They look slightly less horrible than they have the last few days. That's good news. There's some good news and some bad news today. This is interesting. This is fun. I just noticed this. There's the based on disease activity level, which is purely uh, cases per 100,000 residents. They always say that there are some counties that are high, some that are very high, some that are critically high, and we had 47 critically high and 35 that were very high. Today we have 72 critically high counties. The entire state has a critically high disease activity level, which again is just cases per 100,000 people, so that's not surprising considering the way that cases have gone up lately. Although today we've actually leveled off a little bit. Yesterday, our confirmed case average per day over 7 days was 9,696. Today it is 9,675. So not a meaningful change. It's gone down, but only by like 20. So not a meaningful change, but it leveled off. It had been going up by several hundred or even several thousand per day. So to have that level off one day to the next is actually a bit of a respite here. Our positive test rate also dipped, but not by much. And it probably didn't actually really even dip. It was yesterday's 28 point, it was like 28.6 or something yesterday. They have now revised that up to 29.3. Today we're at 27.6. So I would imagine today's is probably closer to 28 or 29 in reality when they get all the numbers in tomorrow. So that's still really, really high. I'm not ready to say, oh, good, we've peaked. One day of different data could just be a little bit less testing. Could be that we've reached sort of the limit of the number of tests we can process in a day, right? So in which case we would level off in terms of cases and test rate. Or it could be, we just are getting a little bit of a respite for today for whatever reason. Our daily death average also fell a little bit to 27, which is also good news because that had been going up all the way up to 29 deaths per day, and it's fallen a little bit to 27. Again, I would imagine that's a data thing more than a reality thing at this moment. I would think that death rate would continue to climb until into the 30s, maybe 40s, given that Omicron is infecting a lot of vaccinated people who will not die from it. But we're still going to see a increase in deaths as in the 4 to 6 weeks, even 4 weeks after Omicron peaks, we're going to continue to see deaths rise. That's what happens in every wave. Now, the bad news today is in the hospitals. Hospitalizations are up. And they're up to 2,278, which I'm pretty certain is the highest we've ever been in terms of hospitalizations. That's 34 more than yesterday. That's 276 more than a week ago. The ICU population is also up to 488. That's the highest that's ever been. It's only 2 more than yesterday, but it's 24 more than a week ago. So about a 5% increase in the past week in the ICU population. Now, the available ICU beds have gone up, though, a little bit to 63, which is obviously not enough. No, actually, that's down. That was 66 yesterday. It's more than it was earlier in the week and late last week. It was like in the 30s. I believe what's happening there is that hospitals have postponed a bunch of surgeries that wouldn't be necessarily called elective surgeries, but which weren't urgent, right? So if you have cancer surgery or heart surgery or something like that, you will spend some time in an intensive care unit, right? So if you postpone those surgeries, you can clear up some ICU beds. So we've gone, from 3.5%, 4% of available ICU beds open to like 5 or 6%. So still not very good. But you have a few more available. So the hospital situation is bad across the state, and has gotten worse in the past day, even though all the spread numbers, the new cases, the positive test rate, all that stuff has leveled off for today. I wouldn't, we'll see what happens tomorrow. It's possible that it'll continue to level off and even start to drop. I wouldn't count on that. I would imagine, this might be just a low data day, in which case we will see a big number tomorrow. I'm going to see what we have in terms of testing today. Yeah, that's they've only got. Now they're saying that on the 5th, last week, there was 17,733 positive tests in a single day. They've only got 5,000 positive tests and 28,000 negative tests in for the 11th, which is yesterday. So I would expect, it's not that low though. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. The level of testing that have been processed in the past 2 days is not really abnormally low, I don't think. So, which means that these numbers are probably close to kind of real. So, we might see a big jump tomorrow, depending on how many tests get processed tonight. But it might be just we had a good day, and when a good day is only 10,000 new cases, that's you're not in a good situation. So it's still bad out there. I mean, obviously, 27.6% positive test rate is catastrophically high. 10,277 new confirmed cases is catastrophically high. All of these numbers are bad. The hospitalizations are really bad. But everything except the hospitalizations are at least slightly better than yesterday. Okay. So that's the COVID situation. We got lots more to talk about. I've got an introduction of a new series to talk to you about. And we'll be back with that and more local news, including some sports news, right after this. All right, so today we have the first story in a series that we're going to be publishing basically over the next year, which is called Lasting Impacts, and it's our examination of there are systems and things and institutions that will change permanently because of the pandemic, right? So we're going to look into those. And the first one is about credit card debt, and that the Lending Tree did an analysis of data nationwide and by state and found that in Wisconsin, there's a 31% decrease in credit card delinquency during the course of the pandemic. And there is an average decrease of $148 of debt in collections per household in Wisconsin, per person in Wisconsin, I should say. And just a lot of, kind of positive stuff. Doesn't affect everybody, right? One of the things is in the pandemic, as in many other sectors, it sort of exacerbated divisions that already existed. So, or patterns that already existed. So the people who had a little bit of money got more, and people who didn't have any money got less, and that, that's how it works. But for a lot of people who are struggling, were able to get out of the hole because they got the stimulus money. They were spending less, just going out. When you're stuck at home, you just spend less money, and the student loans were deferred. Right, so a lot of people had a little bit extra money. We were able to save. We were able to pay down debt, and it had a positive effect. And the optimism among bank type people is that being poor is very expensive, right? So once you're able to kind of get ahead a little bit, take a breather, is what one person said, you can actually kind of start fresh and stay out of the hole. So that's the hope, right? So we'll see if that actually happens. The story is up at Madison365.org today. I talked with a couple of local banking folks as well as the national analyst. And so that's the beginning of that series. We'll have another story coming Monday, I believe, on the nonprofit sector and how the pandemic has changed philanthropy and giving and nonprofit work. It's really, I've talked to a whole bunch of people so far for that, and it's a really fascinating thing, I think. Also today, back to COVID news, you can go to the Allied Drive Boys and Girls Club and pick up your masks if you want to. Every adult, this is on Genuine Drive in Fitchburg, every adult can take 10 masks. These are the KN95 ones. They have kid-sized ones as well as adult-sized ones. They're handing these out for free. They bought a whole bunch, and they're getting donations from the community to cover the cost, but they also got a whole bunch more from the state. And they're distributing those. If you are a nonprofit organization and you want some to hand out to your constituents or the people you serve, you can do that as well. You can ask for up to 250 of those by emailing mask requests at bgcdc.org. And finally, today, sports news for Madison has another kind of splashy signing here. Andrew Wheeler Omionu in white there played for FC Tucson, played for Atlanta United in MLS for a season and a half. And then in Tucson, and then in Phoenix Rising, and then Sacramento Republic. And he will take a sort of a defensive midfielder role, probably. That's kind of where he plays, in the center of the field. And that's a very exciting signing, I think, to have somebody with that kind of experience joining the club. Aaron Malloy, the previous defensive midfielder, has transferred to Memphis 901. So that's a big hole to fill. And I think they just announced that yesterday. So announcing the signing today, I think, indicates that Andrew Wheeler Omionu is going to take that spot probably. So it's sort of off-season player signing time in American soccer. So we'll be getting a lot of these announcements over the next little while. That's all I have for you today. Have a wonderful evening. And I'm hoping, keep your fingers crossed. I hope that the news continues to be less bad, right? If we have kind of hit an Omicron peak and we're going to start to drift back down, that would be great. I would be very pleased with that. I'm skeptical. I don't think we're quite there yet, but we probably will be soon. Even if today's not the peak, like it's a week away probably. So we got to kind of get tough our way through this January, and then we'll get through it together. So thanks, Max. Thanks for the soccer emoji with the job. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good evening. We'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.